Hello, we are almost at the end of May, which means we're going into June, and then we can properly say we have 6 months to election 2024. The countdown is on. The persons who are looking to be president are busily canvassing for votes. They are touring across the country. The former president, busy on the ground. The vice president, very busy. And so are the other candidates who also express an interest in being elected. This is a situation room where all the discussions happen. My name is Omar Rusanda Amado, and I'm here with
Sami Biafe.
My brother. How are you?
I'm well, Sanda. Yourself?
I always ask you, how is the president
The president as well.
How does it feel like to be president knowing that you have 6 months to leave office?
For him, it's okay. He's always said that he wouldn't want an extension of even just a day for him to stay in office.
He can't get an
extension.
extension.
The Constitution.
He can't get it. So
when his time is up, he would definitely say goodbye to us.
No, did he say what he was going to do? Mushroom farming?
He said he was going to go into farming, but specifically he hasn't said what he's going to do.
Please, next time you meet him, tell him that I want to know
ask him that specific
whether
question.
he wants to go into mushroom farming, okra farming. Tell him.
I'll ask him that Umar Osana wants me to ask you what you do after the presidency.
Tell him there's a proposal. He should go into importation of cars. Money day inside, Papa, because of the taxes at the port now. Even Tico, if you bring Tico, the money you pay on it.
I believe former presidents enjoy being farmers, in quote, after serving their term. J. Kufuor is a farmer.
Oh, Kufuor is farming?
Yes.
Okay.
Former President John Dramani Mahama has also said before that he's now into farming.
But right now he has put the farm on hold.
Oh, he still does alongside the politics.
He's on leave from the farm to
He
campaign.
still does alongside the politics. I believe, or I'm very sure that Daniel Kufuor will also venture into that particular space.
Is he writing his memoir?
Yeah. He said he's going to write a book.
When will he?
From his space in the political time till he became president.
He should write so that we can see it.
We'll have a lot to learn from it. From his days when the presidential ambition began. That was 2008 thereof.
Yeah. He should write. Please tell him we want to read his book.
Rollins
didn't write for us. Such a shame. Kufuor has not written. Very painful too.
Your mama has one. Former president.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm talking about our former president. We really would have wanted to hear from Rollins, and even the people who served with him. People like Martin Amido. People like all the key people. I mean, I've been fighting John Indebugre to write a book. He never wrote until he died. And even in this MPP government, there are a lot of people we won't hear from. Osafo Mafo, it would be nice to hear from him. I want to hear the story around the contract that he went to sign in Germany. I want to really see him write about that. People will learn from that and will be guided by it.
I'm also writing one, right?
You're writing, eh?
Oh, yes.
What are you writing? I'm
writing the experience of a journalist on the campaign trail.
Following Akufo-Addo?
Yeah.
You followed
2008 till 2020. So I'm putting my thoughts and everything together. How the experience is like. You know, a journalist embedded in the campaign, the things you see, the things you report on, and the whole like.
12 years. Yeah. That's a lot. You have a wealth of experience. Please write that book.
I am.
When you finish,
I'm almost through.
When you finish, I'll put you an interview.
You'll be the MC for the day when I'm launching.
Thank you very much. You pay. This is the Situation Room on Citi TV. We are coming back in a bit to tell you what the agenda for today is. You're welcome back. This is the Situation Room on Citi TV. So the Parliament of Ghana is an interesting one. This 8th Parliament especially even more interesting because it's a neck and neck, and there's one person who is making the difference in the House. So Parliament is very crucial. The next election, Parliament will be very crucial again because every party will be interested in how many votes they make and how many seats they get out of the 137 or 275, I beg your pardon.
It may be 76.
276 actually,
yes.
So 270 plus the one constituency.
The one constituency.
Musa Dankwa is a regular poster. He's going to join us in a bit because he has done some work in the Greater Accra region, 4 constituencies in the Greater Accra region, where he says the NPP is struggling. The elephant is in for trouble in that these 4 constituencies. We'll be inviting Musa on the show in a bit. But before then, let's look at the people who are running for office. They've been busy campaigning and saying all manner of things. Let's start with former President John Dramani Mahama and the flag bearer of MPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. The two of them, one joining virtually, were at the CEO Summit where some CEOs were given awards, but they also spoke. So John Mahama spoke, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia spoke via Zoom from Canada where he was at the time. Let's hear some of the key things that they've been saying at this event.
Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia during the 8th Ghana CEO Summit asserted that the Akufo-Addo administration has seen significant achievements in advancing the country's development agenda. Dr. Bawumia emphasized that the current government's developmental projects are tangible and can be easily verified, contrasting them with projects of Mr. Mohammed's tenure. The NPP flag bearer reiterated his dedication to sustainable development.
Our routine in the area of development, we are doing better than the economy that he was managing as president. Now, beyond this, as I said, one has to go beyond the routine because in getting the business economy to move and the business sector to thrive, we need ideas, we need transformational ideas, we need to change our system. And this is what we have been doing over the last few years, to also trying to change the system. And this is why digital transformation has been very important for us. You've seen us bringing in many digital reforms.
The economic environment in Ghana spanning 2022 to date has compelled many multinational companies to relocate all or part of their businesses to other countries. The latest to quit its operations in Ghana is food delivery giant in Africa, Glovo. The Spanish firm exited Ghana this May, citing profitability challenges and a reassessment of investment priorities. At a forum with CEOs in Accra, John Mahama, flag bearer of the NDC, expressed concerns about the exit of some multinational companies from the Ghanaian economy and pleaded for them to reverse any plan to exit.
Game, Glovo, Nivea, Big Pen, Dark and Lovely have all shut down. Unilever has relocated its tea production to Nigeria, and amid all this, our public debts now hit a staggering 658.6 billion Ghana cedis. But we cannot despair over the poor quality of governance that has served us in the last 7.5 years. I wish to use this opportunity to appeal to you, captains of industry and the investor community, to tarry a bit more. Please don't leave our country. It is said that the darkest hour is before the dawn. The beauty of our democracy is that it affords us the opportunity to change our current trajectory. You can rest assured that a new NDC administration will work with you to create a conducive environment for businesses to thrive. Together, we'll expand your businesses to create more opportunities for an increasingly youthful population.
The former president, while speaking on the economy, indicated that over 800,000 Ghanaians were pushed below the poverty line due to 8 years of poor leadership and mismanagement of the economy.
Today, we stand at a critical and troubling crossroads. Our beloved country, Ghana, has become a bankrupt, collapsed economy due to poor leadership of almost 8 years. This leadership has failed Ghanaians and yet refuses to accept or even take responsibility for the most reckless management of our economy known in previous history. This has plunged our nation into an unprecedented economic crisis and is reported to have pushed more than 800,000 of our fellow citizens below the poverty line. Unemployment has jumped to 14.7% from 8.5% in 2017. Despite this government appears unconcerned or unwilling to cut expenditure.
The flag bearer of the NPP, in response, said his plan to run a government with 50 ministers is feasible. He believes this will help cut down expenditure to save the public purse.
The networking of the hospitals, Ghana.gov, all of these things have been spearheaded. So government is not uploading and spending upfront. And I want us to apply this model. My view, as I've stated, is that let us bring down government expenditure between 3 to 5%. I believe that I can run a government with 50 ministers rather than what we are doing today.
As the two leaders of both parties took their turns to address various CEOs in Accra, one thing was key: matters of the economy. On the part of Dr. Baumia, the leader of the NPP, he would ensure that his government reduces borrowing and also tackle the issue of unemployment. On the path of the NDC's flag bearer, John Mahama, he will create a market that would be characterized by a mix of industries that would have a conducive environment for their businesses to thrive. For Citi News, Citiuation, Accra.
So that's a summary of the two leaders and what they've been saying at the CEO Summit. You've heard the former President Mahama talking about industry. That's not the only thing he talked about on his campaign tour and all the stoppages that he's been making, speaking about major issues. He talks about the congestion we have in Accra. If you live or work in Accra, I'm sure you do know the challenges with traffic or the gridlock that we have. This is a solution that the former president is preferring.
Feasibility study and a plan to build a new city. Accra is getting gridlocked. The time has come for us to move some parts of the government services out of Accra. Accra will continue to be the capital, but we'll move part of it outside. There's land on the Accra Plains, there's land on the other bank of the Volta Lake and all that. Already we're going to have a port terminal at Mpakadan to move cargo to the northern part of the country. There's a lot of land there. And so we can move some of the ministries, agencies, and departments out of the city so that we decongest Accra. Because Accra has expanded to its limits. The way it is going, if we're not careful, it will be difficult to continue to manage it as a viable city. And so we'll start the plan and the design and the feasibility. I believe that this will be a project that will take maybe 20 years to fulfill, but we need to start somewhere. And so we'll start, others will come and continue from where we leave off.
So that's former President Mahama talking about the congestion in Accra and the agenda. Sami, I don't know what you think of this first before we even go to his campaign. What do you think about that?
Well, successive government have all said that Accra is choked. And so if there's a way out, they may want to move the capital to somewhere else where it's a bit quiet. So the business we have in Accra will be a bit reduced. Other countries have done it. If you go to Nigeria, for instance, there was a deliberate attempt to make Abuja the political capital and make Lagos the commercial capital. That is working now. One way or the other, a lot of people have said that it reduced the pressure in Lagos because hitherto Lagos was choked, very, very choked. Not like the way we are seeing here in Accra. And so it will take a while. It's not just a 2, 3, 1 week or 1 month thing. It will take a long while. As Mr. Mama is saying, it will take like 20 years or even 30 or 40 for us to get this thing done. But I'm all for it if there's a way we can move some of the essential services provided here in Accra to other parts of the country or other parts of Greater Accra.
Let's go to his campaign spokesperson, one of them, Beatrice Annan, is joining us. Beatrice, hello, welcome to Citiuation Room on Citi TV. It's exciting to see that you're planning to work on removing the gridlock we have in town. You want to unchoke Accra. But there's a school of thought that instead of taking Accra or the chaos out of Accra, create another chaos elsewhere so that connect rail lines to Accra. People who live in Accra would then go live in the hinterlands or anywhere else and move into Accra, like what you planned with the Saglemi housing when you did those houses there. If you had a rail line from there, it would be easy. Why did you choose instead to send business out of Accra to other places? And what town are you looking at? He mentioned the Bank of the Volta, but I'm not sure. How specifically is this plan?
Okay, so thank you very much, Umaru. We welcome diverse schools of thoughts on this matter. We recognize that the underlying factor is that Accra is choked, and not even currently choked, but in the next 10 to 20 years, you would have to deal with the situation as your co-presenter said in Lagos. And so it's important that we decongest Accra. President Mahama has said that to begin this, we have to relocate some ministries, departments, and agencies. If I can give you a classical example. When the BOG began building its headquarters, or not headquarters, but another office in Tamale, you realize that land around that area began to appreciate. I had the privilege of representing some clients who wanted to purchase those lands, and I was asking, what's happening? This is family. Why are the lands expensive? And the landmark reason was because BOG was constructing a new office close to where those lands are. So the idea is that just like South Africa has done, just like Nigeria has done, when you move outside Accra, you don't get a feel of development. And every young person, every big business that comes wants to still set up in Accra because of access to hospitals, internet, and other amenities. And so President Mahama is saying that, first of all, one, we embark on decongesting Accra by taking some departments, agencies, and ministries out of Accra to designated regions so that if you want to work in those ministries, departments, and agencies, you don't have to migrate to Accra. And that will be the short-term vision. But in the long term, which he himself anticipates will take more than 20 years, we are trying to create another city. You can see that Tema is one of the well-planned cities we have in Ghana, where you have various communities, where you have specific places designated for industry, for schools, also because Nkrumah deliberately planned Tema. And so the NDC government, when given the nod, would create the plan and the feasibility studies.
Actually,
make
we was
sure
talking about
that
is it about the gold and the city stabilization?
Bishop, sorry, continue. Yeah, continue.
Yes, so the NDC government will create another city, but we anticipate that because it will take a long time, we will start with the plan, the design, and the feasibility studies, so that the next generation can also come and continue. But whichever way, we risk having a capital that is very small. You know, Accra is very small in land size when you compare to the other regions.
Okay, Beatrice, so when you say create another city, so are we going to do the Washington, D.C. kind of thing? We're going to look for vast land which is unoccupied and design a city out of it. Is that what we are looking at?
Exactly.
So because he mentioned the Accra Plains, so it means an area like Chopoli, behind the Saglemi, you could then turn that into a city, but not necessarily the national capital. Is that the idea?
So the idea is not to bring any city close to the national capital again, because we are saying that the capital is choked. But when you listen to him, he makes the argument that the location for this new city must be such that it can connect at least 3 regions: Eastern region, Greater Accra, and Volta region. And I'm sure that that's the benefit of what the feasibility study would bring. So when we conduct the feasibility study, then we can tell the most appropriate place that we think that this new city should be. And President Mahama has a track record. When he wanted to build the Saglemi, he didn't come to demolish existing houses in Accra and all that to do that. You see that he came far away to Saglemi, where you had a lot of vast land so that you could plan. And I think that that's a better way of developing the country, because tomorrow when you go outside Accra, your internet is an issue. Access to, we've had instances where ministers of state, members of parliament have had to die because they were in their constituencies, in regions outside Accra. And they could not accept that we are developing. And we welcome diverse opinion, we welcome diverse suggestions as to how we can make this a reality.
Beatrice, you are a Nungwa girl, an area I've stayed for many years. You do know that Nungwa being in the Greater Accra region, there was a plan to move Greater Accra regional capital to Dodowa decades ago. That thing has not happened. Could you not explore that rather, so that you can still leave the capital as is, but then create a new regional capital for Greater Accra?
I think what the NDC is seeking to do is not to create a capital or assign names and titles. President Mahama has said that Accra can still be the capital. Greater Accra can still be the capital. What we are seeking to do is to respond to the growing demand of the middle class or urbanization, so that in my town, for instance, Nungwa, as you rightly mentioned, it's heavily populated. Now, if you have people migrating from Bono region, from all other regions to come and stay in Nungwa again, one, because of the prospect of getting better jobs in industries in Accra or working in big offices and companies, merely renaming the city may not change it.
Okay.
And so if you move the activities to a new place, that is what will change it and not the name.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us. That's Beatrice Annan. She's a lawyer, a member of the communication team of John Dramani Mahama, the flag bearer of the NDC and former president, who is saying that, I mean, this is something that will take some 20 years. I don't know what you think. Please go to our social media platforms, use hashtag Citiuation. Let us know. Let the conversation continue on that particular discussion. But while we're talking about John Mahama's campaign leg, Sami, you have another campaign.
From John Mahama, we go to the Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia campaign team, the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. He's in the Volta region, also campaigning to be the next president of the Republic. Yesterday, he met the TUC, Organized Labour, and he laid to them some of the things he would do when he is president, not when he's vice president, when he is president, especially how to stabilize the Ghanaian cedi, which we've seen some depreciation for some time now. He has a solution, and he says he's going to use the gold reserve we have in this country to back the cedi to ensure some stability. Let's listen to him.
We can get 3 billion a year in gold from the small-scale mining sector alone. That changes our balance of payments completely. This is every year you can get this. And it's there. It's being mined every year, taken out to India, to Dubai, and other places. So I want us, essentially, I made mention of this on February 7th, that ultimately my goal is that we are going to back our currency with gold. That is where I want us to go. Increasingly back our currency with gold, because it is very easy for us to do so if you keep having the gold reserves. And that will keep a lot of stability in the exchange market. Because right now, we don't have an anchor to hold the currency. But if we back it with gold, it will be very stable, because its value ultimately will be reflected by the value of gold, which is very stable.
MPP flag bearer Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, he wants to be the next president of the Republic, currently serving as the vice president, outlined his vision as far as the stability of the city is concerned with organized labor. We've seen a depreciation of the cedi for some time now. At the last check, it was 15 cedis to $1. He has a plan to stabilize it. His proposal is that he's going to use the country's gold reserve to stabilize the cedi. But a lot of people have asked questions that how different is this particular move from a previous one that is being implemented, the Gold for Oil program. Very soon, we'll be speaking to the Director of Communications for his campaign, Dennis Miracles Abuaji, to explain to us what really this plan is as far as his boss is concerned. But Sandra, you've listened to him. You've also seen the implementation of the Gold for Oil program. How different is it going to be? Is it not virtually going to be the same thing one way or the other?
So the cynic in me would ask the first question, where is the gold? Because the gold is even an issue. So get the gold first. Now, when you get the gold, we tried that with the oil for gold or gold for oil thing.
Yeah.
How has that been success? What has been the success rate? Because if it was very successful, I wouldn't be scared anytime I branch into a fuel station.
Yeah.
In fact, if I had my way, I would enter fuel stations now. But you don't have a choice. You have to go in there, and you pay so much, and you're watching your gauge.
And I think for now, a liter is going for the 13 cedis. Okay, depending on which ONC you are buying
whichever
from.
one it is above 13 cedis. Even if it is the Pruka one by the road, it's still the same thing. Now, you are watching your gauge moving like a sloth, which means you really have to pay so much. It is good that he has this intention, but the other questions that will come up is, you're currently the vice president, and the critics will come hard at him. You will chair the economic management team. How do you separate your ideas now from the ideas you give to Akufo-Addo to use to run his government? Is it the case that you offered these ideas to Akufo-Addo he didn't accept?
But the counter argument has always been that he's not the man in charge. He's just a vice president.
The,
he may offer solutions. He may propose.
Yeah.
The bus stop with the president whether to accept these proposals and implement them as he is proposing or not.
That's true.
And so the counter argument is that I'm just making a proposal. If the president or the leader of the nation decides to go with that particular proposal, then fair be it.
That's true, but you see, the NDC would tell you that President Akufo-Addo himself went to Parliament and in his State of the Nation address announced Dr. Bawumia as a man driving the economic side of things for him. Dr. Bawumia himself did a town hall meeting at the Physicians and Surgeons College and mentioned Professor Jambafu and all those people and said that these are the people he's working with. So we do know that's happening. We are in a difficult time now. Dr. Bawumia's campaign is going to be a very difficult one, and I really am praying for him because you see, whatever new thing you bring, you have to explain how come you are not going to do it now. For instance, we listened to Dr. Stephen Amwa, Deputy Finance Minister, sticker on the Citi Breakfast Show today. His commentary was sad. Listening to him, I felt sad and horrified that all of a sudden he's telling us to go on national consensus. He's talking about, you know, future. Let's not politicize the Citi's depreciation. And yet the Citi's depreciation was a big issue.
A big one, yeah.
in Mahama's government. It was not a big issue in
2016,
Kufuor's
Dr.
government.
Bawumia himself held a series of economic lectures.
Yep. And Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo said, Citi na ye hata
That was in Takrade. I was there, I remember.
So if you said these things and you come now, the Citi moves from 4 cities to 14 cities. When the NDC Mills Mahama moved it from maybe 2 cities, I think when Kufuor was leaving, it was a little over 1 city. Yeah. So 3 cities versus 4 cities to 14 cities.
The finance minister has also been offering some explanation, saying that the depreciation is not that wide. It's done like close to 16% since the depreciation started. It's not that big a gap for Ghanaians to come hard on government. When you look at the percentage-wise, it's that small. It's not that big. And so Ghanaians to tone down that criticism when it comes to the depreciation of the city.
You can explain these things.
You can explain
but when the person who goes to import, I made a comment that you should import a vehicle. I mean, Charlie, you can't import.
Yeah.
And the CD, I was speaking to a student yesterday who said that she's going to write these ACA things that they write. You know, they usually write it in the UK. So you have to pay in pound sterling. And she was telling me that she cannot pay because now the pound sterling is 19 cedis to a pound. I mean, we always talk about the dollar because that's a major forex that everybody uses. But people use pounds. People use the yuan and all of these things. The pound is 19 cedis. Charlie, that's a big one. And if you say to me that I come to fix with the gold, my question would be that you brought the gold for oil. The gold for oil was supposed to reduce the cost of fuel. That has failed. It was also supposed to help deal with the city's stabilization. That has also not been very successful. So this gold reserve thing, first of all, do we have the gold considering that Galamsey has come to make things? Are we going to buy from the Galamseyers? If they will be selling to us, that's fine.
There was a plan by the Bank of Ghana to buy these gold from these Galamseyers and the small-scale miners as well.
Yeah. So we were called the Gold Coast. I'm not sure we still have the gold. Even if we have it, I'm not sure we are managing it well. And I don't really trust that this is something we can use. But of course, this is a promise. Over the coming days, we'll be scrutinizing it, just as the former president's promised to create a new capital outside. And I was talking about Dodowa is there. We mentioned that Dodowa has now caught up with Accra anyway. So creating a whole new region, he started with Saglemi. We're seeing the problems of Saglemi now. Even if you own a room in Saglemi today, coming to Accra, the Dawenya traffic, you take 3 hours to be in there. So let's fix our transportation. For me, when we fix transportation, a lot of find ye first transportation and the rest will be added to you. Sami, if there was proper train system from your village, you would have no business staying in Accra. You stay there, enjoy you take a train in the morning, you get to work by 30 minutes, you stay work in the evening, 30 minutes, you are back. I saw that in Europe. Why are we not having it here? This is Situation Room on Citi TV. My name is Umaru Sandamado. I'm here with Sami Wiafi. Unfortunately, Miracle's line has been very dodgy. We are not able to reach him. He's in the Volta region campaigning with Dr. Bawumia. When we come back, Musa Dankwa is in studio, Global Info Analytics. They've done some work that will make the NPP shake in his boots in the Greater Accra region. Stay with us. You're welcome back. This is the Situation Room on Citi TV. My name is Umaru Sandamado. I'm here with Sami Wiafi. and Musa Dankwa of Global Info Analytics. Musa, please join us. Let's see what you have been cooking the past. You haven't been on the show in a while. So what have you
the
been
last time
busy?
you came here was the Ejuso by-election.
Ejuso by-election. Yeah, that thing. Did you bend your fingers or no, you didn't? You know. So okay, until I saw your thing, I didn't think Ejuso was a big issue. For me, I thought it was an MPP seat. Charlie, no problem. Until you shared your data, I'm like, hey, it's actually going to be an issue, and that's what has happened. Yes. Your prediction has sort of, you've been vindicated. Congratulations. Before we talk to you about your new project, Sami has something.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, we're trying to speak to Miracles Dennis Abuaje, who is the Director of Communications for the Dr. Baumia team. Thankfully, we have him on the telephone. We'll speak to him in respect of some of the things his boss has been offering as far as the stability of the Ghanaian cedi is concerned. Dennis, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time and welcome to the Citiuation Room. We understand you're in the Volta region. Tell us what's happening there. First of all, the reception and what your boss has been telling the people of the Volta region.
Well, Sami, thank you in regards to Umaru. So it's been another very important day of campaigning in the Volta region. We started off very early in the morning with the flag bearer meeting, the clergy, and then as we speak, he just wrapped up the meeting with the regional House of, and currently at the whole central market, interacting with the traders and the market women in whole. And the reception has been awesome so far, where the chiefs and the religious leaders have all expressed optimism with the vision that the Vice President is espousing for the next phase of Ghana's development. In fact, the President of the House of Chiefs in the Volta region indicated, and he says that they welcome Dr. Baumia's progressive and forward-looking ideas for Ghana, and they look forward to collaborating with you in the developmental agenda. It's been good so far, and we are looking forward to ending the day on a very good note.
All right, Dennis, yesterday, the flag bearer met organized labor, TUC, and the rest. And one of the issues that came up was the stability of the Ghanaian cedi or the depreciation of the cedi. He offered some solution, which is to use the gold reserve to stabilize the cedi. Explain that, because he's come under fire, particularly for that particular statement he made as to how he's going to be able to use the gold reserve to stabilize the cedi. Exactly what was he trying to put across?
Well, you know, Dr. Baumia's advocacy for our utilization of the gold to back our currency, it's not one that started today. In fact, if you look at a country like England, one of the reasons why the British pound is so strong is as a result of their ability to back that currency with gold. And for all countries who are able to have such natural resources and strongly use it to back their currency, you see the strength in it. And that is what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is proposing. It takes a while. There are lots of things that need to be done within the natural resources space. There are a lot of regulatory changes that would have to be done, and systems that would have to be strengthened. But ultimately, the objective is to ensure that the gold that we are mining in this country, at least before it leaves the shores of this country, is retained here to give some strength to our currency before anything else. So if you recall, recently, as I think some 18 months or 20 months ago, when we had challenges with fuel and the fact that the currency was struggling, when we started a gold for oil policy, you'd realize that all we needed to do was to buy the gold here in Ghana City and then utilize it in exchange for oil. And so it reduces our demand for the dollar. And so once you put in place mechanisms to reduce the demand for the dollar, then what you are doing is that you are reducing the dollar's strength on your currency. And his view is that if we have a natural resource like gold, which we can store a lot more, then we will be able to use that as a bargaining chip to ensure that we reduce the pressure on our currency.
All right, Dennis, since you're on the campaign field, we will not waste much of your time. Thank you very much. When you come back to Accra, we'll host you in the studio so you can explain more on this particular policy of the Vice President and the MPP presidential candidate. Thank you very much. Dennis Miracle Abuaje is the Director of Communications for the Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia campaign team. Musa, how are you, sir?
I'm doing very well.
I hear you are cooking something. Is it ready yet? Is it jollof, fried rice, or banku?
This is fufu.
So what did you find, Musa? Which constituencies did you focus on and why?
We focused on Okaikwe Central, Okaikwe South, Anyanso 2, and Trobu.
Okaikwe Central, Sami, which towns are in that?
That's Patrick Bourma's end.
Okay.
That's Abeka. Some part of in this area.
Asylum.
This area
Okay,
is part
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Some part of I think the North Carnation area. There are some.
So
part
that's
of
Okaikwe Central.
Yeah.
And Okaikwe what? South.
South.
Which one is that? That's
The south. That's Dokua Newman's place. Talking about Awudome.
Okay.
A bit of Carnation Market.
Okay.
You know,
Dakon,
coming close to Awudome
Newman.
and those areas there.
Which other constituency?
And then Anyanso 2.
Anyanso Sotom. Now he's talking about Sotom,
The foreign
Santa
minister's
Maria. You know, getting close to the Ofanko area there.
And the last one?
And then Trobu.
Trobu Masama. That's Awoshi, Pokuase, Achimota. No. Achimota is part of it, and Akwetema those areas. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So why do you choose these constituencies? Are they blue, they are flipping, or they are red?
One, we are running a model called the MRP model, which suggests that if we can't be everywhere, you must pick a constituency that can represent the demography of others.
Okay.
So we wanted to see what does the situation look like in the deep blue constituencies in Greater Accra.
And these are seats held by the MPP as we speak.
And also they won it heavily in terms of margin.
Yeah.
Last election.
Show us what you've done with the graphs. You can go to your screen. Yeah. So this is the Situation Room on Citi TV. Musa Damkwa of the Global Info Analytics. So, he has done some work, and that's what we're just watching. Yes, so Musa.
Basically, let's look at the sample size. All the 4 locations, sample total 2,224.
Each or all?
All.
Okay.
But 553 was given to Okaikwe Central, 553 Okaikwe South, 553 for Anyanso 2, and 565 for Trobu.
Trobu had more?
Yes. Confidence level is 95% for all of them.
What does confidence level mean?
It means that what level of confidence do you have in the data, in the results you are projecting. And then 2% of margin of error for all the 4 put together, the error plus or minus 2%. And then for the constituencies separately, 4.1 margin of error for each of them, except Trobu, where it's 4.0. People were interviewed randomly from the street and across a number of electoral areas in the constituency. I'm going to skip some of this demography because we don't have much time. Let's go to key aspect. Okay, first-time voters, there were 10% in the response. The experienced voters are 90%. Now, party affiliation, which is very important because it sets things into context. It tells you who dominates who in that constituency. In all the 4, 44% of the people or respondents were MPP supporters. 26 were MDC. 24 were floating voters, and 6 did not disclose their party affiliation to us. Now, if you look at the first-time voters, 32% of them said they were MPP, 8% said they were NDC, and 48% of them said they are floating voters, first-time voters in these areas. And 11% did not tell us their party affiliation. If you look at their older version, 46% were MPP, 28 NDC, and then 21 floating voters, and 5% did not tell us which party they support. Now, this is the party affiliation for each of the constituencies. You can see averagely about 40%. Yeah. NDC, 26% in Okaikwe Central, 30% in Okaikwe South, 27 and 24 accordingly. Floating voters, lower range. Key election issues for voters. Interesting. Economy, the blue is the new poll, the green is the April poll. So in the 4 critical areas in the Greater Accra for MPP, economy is 79% of the issues they mentioned were economy.
Jumping from 64.
Now 64 was the April poll nationally.
That's what I'm saying. So,
nationally it's 64%.
Okay.
But in their stronghold, it is much bigger problem for them.
Okay.
And this, we must take note. We'll come back and explain certain things. Education is 44% there, and now 47% in April. Nationally, jobs is 66% in April, but 41% in that area. And I'll tell you what is happening there. So you can see the various issues compared to the previous one. Now, look at the first-time voters and what their issues are. For them, so economy, for those who are not first-time voters, it is 83%. They are businessmen, small traders in around that area. So the economy for them is key.
Big.
The first-time voters, economy is not as big issue for them. But look at jobs. First-time voters, 60% is jobs. They have no jobs. They believe that if they have jobs, the economy will improve.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, governance and standard of living. Look, we asked them whether the country is headed in the right direction or wrong direction. Right direction, 20%. Wrong direction, 74%. Nationally, it is 65 in April. So it is much higher and worse in their stronghold than the national figure. 6% have no opinion. And when we asked them whether they approve the performance of the president, 65 said they disapprove. 25 approve. 10 have no opinion. Nationally, it is 62%. So slightly higher disapproval in its own stronghold than the national average. Now, this is the people who approve the president or disapprove. Approve MPP 45%. Disapprove MPP 53%. Most MPP voters disapprove the president's performance in the constituency. NDC approval 2%. Disapproval 97%. Floating voters disapproval 70%. Approval 20%. It doesn't look good. When we ask them about the standard of living, look, 62% said it's gotten worse. In April, nationally, this figure is 51%. So things are worse in the stronghold than the national. 60% said it's unchanged, and 18% said it has improved. 4% had no opinion. When we asked them, are you optimistic things would improve in the next 12 months? Look at it. 74% said, oh, this is the direction of the country.
Okay, maybe the key.
74% said wrong direction, and right direction 20%. I don't know whether we've gone back. Okay.
Okay.
So these are the general governance issue, and you can see that
you pick from all the four.
All the four.
Okay.
And it doesn't really show that these guys have not been touched by the economy and everything. So they are really
they are
feeling
affected.
it. Yes, feeling it.
All right. So let's look at performance of MPs in parliamentary elections. Is that what you did?
Yes.
Okay. So
when we were there, we asked them to rate the performance of their MPs, and then they are voting intention.
And their MPs are all MPP.
They are all MPP MPs.
Okay.
Now, with regards to Okan-Ekwe Central, Patrick Boma, excellent, 26%. Good or very good, 24%. Average, 26%. Poor or very poor, 16%. No opinion, 8%. He's doing quite well compared to the rest.
Yeah.
If you come to Okan-Ekwe South, excellent, 14%. Very good or good, 13%. Average, 27%. Poor or very poor, 34%. And 2% have no opinion. Anyaso Otum, excellent, 11%. Very good or good, 18%. Average, 21%. Very poor or poor, 40%. 9% have no opinion. Now, when you go to Trobu, 7% said excellent. 14% said very good or good. 32% said average, and 41% said he has done very poor.
Interestingly, for Anyaso Otum and Trobu, the two MPs lost their primaries.
Yes,
and so he goes to confirm their performances.
They lost their primaries.
Yeah.
So this is a verdict on the MPs, not the parliamentary candidates?
No.
Okay.
The sitting MPs.
Sitting MPs. And then we looked at the presidential elections, likely voters. In the overall constituency, 51% of them said they intend to vote for Mahama if the elections were held the day we spoke with them.
In the four constituencies?
In the four constituencies.
Okay.
45% said they would vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. 2% Alan Chiramatin, and 2% Nana Kwan-Bediako. So in the blue of the blue states, Mahama is leading 51-45. Okan-Ekwe Central, who leads there? Mahama, 53%. Bawumia, 45%.
And Mahama did not win this seat last election?
No.
Okay.
No, never won these areas before.
Okay.
2% Alan Cheramatin. When you go to Okaikwe South, Mahama 52, Bawumia 43, Alan 2%, Nana Kwambidiako 3%. When you go to Anyaso Tum, much closer race, Mahama 47%, Bawumia 45%, Alan 3%, Nana Kwambidiako 4%, others 1%. And then when you come to Trobu, Mahama 50%, Bawumia 46%, Alan 1%, Kwambediako 2%, others 1%.
So all 4 constituencies, John Mahama in the lead in the polls?
Yes.
Okay. That's for the presidential election.
Yeah. Now, here we're going to show you how the MPs are doing compared to the presidential candidates.
Okay.
To give you a bigger picture of what is really happening there. Skirt and blouse, Okaikwe Central. In the presidential, in terms of likely voters, which looks at those who are going to vote, those who said they will not vote or undecided were taken out. And that changed the numbers slightly. On that basis, Patrick Buama, 58%. Baba Sadiq, 42% in the parliamentary. In the presidential, Mahama, 52%. Bawumia, 53%. Bawumia, 45%. So Buama is doing far better than Bawumia in Okaikwe Central, skirt and blouse.
Okay.
Now, when you come to the parliamentary voting intention by party affiliation, look at the way the MPP voters are behaving. In the case of Patrick Buama, 93% of them are voting for Patrick Buama. But in the case of Bawumia, it is 86%. Far less from the MPP folks.
Okay.
If you go to Okaikwe South, Dakua Newman, 51%, and it's Adumaku, 49%. Mahama, 52%. Bawumia, 43%. Again, Dakua Newman is performing higher than Bawumia. When you come to the party affiliation, 88% of MPP are voting for Dakua. Bawumia is 78%. 10% less. When you go to Anyaso Otuom, Nana Emmanuel Tobin, 55%. Emmanuel Alote, 42%. Mahama, 47%. Bawumia, 45%. Again, Tobin is doing higher than Bawumia in Anyaso Otuom. When you come to MPP voters only, 85% are doing Tobin. When it comes to Bawumia, it is 78%. Consistent.
Yeah.
And then in Trobu, Gloria, 54%. John Kofiham, 45%. Mahama, 50%. Bawumia, 46%. Again, MPP PCs outperforming Bawumia in the stronghold. Among MPP, look, 88% are doing Gloria, but 81% are doing Bawumia. So this is the problem.
Okay.
The people have their candidate, but they're not behind the candidate.
Okay. In these 4 constituencies, which one should be worried the most among the 4?
In terms of presidential or parliamentary?
Parliamentary.
Parliamentary, I think Trobu and Okaikwe South.
They should be
very, very worried.
Okay. Please proceed.
Then let's look at demography. By key demography. The Akans, 29% Bawumia, Mahama, 64% Mahama. The Guans, Mahama, 66%, Bawumia 29%. So across demography, by ethnic grounds, Akans are supporting Bawumia 64%. And
so
then
that's the only place Bawumia has won.
And then among the Mande group, 80%.
Okay. Okay.
Now let's look at the Christian bloc. Mahama 47, Bawumia 49. Muslims 73, Mahama 25, Bawumia, among the major religious groups. Employed 49%, Mahama 47%, Bawumia. Unemployed 56%, Mahama, and 38% Bawumia. Students, look, crucially, 47% Mahama and 42%.
But pensioners appear to
yes,
like
pensioners
Bawumia.
appear to support.
Even though they went on
I'll tell you why. They are the typical old generation MPP supporters.
Okay.
Nothing changes their mind.
Their minds.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
And then when you come to party affiliation of voters who are voting for the candidates, and that is where it gets worrying for MPP. 14% of MPP supporters in the stronghold are voting for Mahama. Nationally, this figure is 9%. So it is far higher for people who are voting Mahama from MPP in their stronghold than across the country. And that is worrying. 81% are doing Baumia and 2% are doing Alna. They're not quite 3%. And this 96% are doing Mahama. 4% are doing Baumia. Floating voters, crucially, look at it. In the stronghold of MPP,
the ones that are needed.
Mahama 63%, Baumia 27%. And among those who don't disclose their party affiliation, who are normally disgruntled MPP,
they are rather going for.
They are also Mahama.
Okay. Okay. The intention in 2024, first time
voters. First time voters, Baumia 39%.
So first time voters, those who are voting John Mahama are 48%?
Yeah, 48% and Baumia 29%. Among older ones, 51 Mahama and 45 Baumia. Now you can see this per electoral area. The only electoral area constituency first time are voting for Baumia is in Okankwe South,
okay.
Where he leads 51, Mahama 41%. The rest, now look at this, first time voters in Anyas Wotum, Mahama 58, Nana Kombediako 26%.
Are you serious? Anyas Wotum?
Yes, Anyas Wotum.
More than Baumia?
More than Baumia, first time voters.
Wow. That has been a stronghold of the MPP since this creation.
Yes.
The creation of that
yes. The former seat of the foreign minister.
Foreign minister, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so how likely are you going to change your mind? 85%.
So the people you've questioned,
yes,
everything they've said.
How likely are you going to change your mind
between
the time we spoke to you and December? 85% said they won't change their mind.
It means already made up.
It's concrete.
Concrete.
Nothing will change it.
They said the margin of error is 4% thereabout.
Yes,
so
4%.
It means that Dr. Wamiam has a lot of
margin is 2% for the four to put together, but for each constituency is 4%.
So the key takeaway is MPP should be concerned in its strongholds, specifically these four constituencies.
Yes.
Dakwa Newman should be extra careful, but she's just been given a job as Minister for Gender. We don't know what that will change in the next few months. So Dakwa Newman, very careful. Patrick Wama also has to be careful.
No, he is.
Patrick is
safe. Because he is getting a lot more of the NDC guys supporting,
voting for him. However, Chobu and Anyaso Otum, these MPs are not seeking re-election, or they are not being they are not on the ballot. Maybe the party was smart in changing them. I don't know. After the foreign minister, she stepped down. So we don't know. Maybe you should do new work on the candidates that they have put forth. I don't know what.
No, this poll here is about them. Who do you want to vote for?
Okay.
It's about them.
Okay. So we want to know whether now that they've brought new candidates, what that
I
would
think
mean.
that figure is there, but I think for time.
Okay, that's fine. The next thing also you may want to consider for us is go to a strong NDC zone and also see how the dynamics are.
No, it's a waste of time.
It's pointless.
Because when you understand this.
So this is a better benchmark.
This is a better benchmark of what is going to happen. We know fairly what the NDC is doing. And we know fairly what the floating voters are doing. So we are doing some few works in some critical constituencies, and when that comes out, we can model the elections quite easily.
Are you doing another national poll?
We're starting that towards the end of June.
Okay.
National. We are doing 111 constituencies this time around.
Very well. 111?
Yes.
That's a lot. We can't wait to see what you come out of that. Thank you so much, Musa Dankwa of the Global Info Analytics. Sami, we have to wrap up, right?
It goes to confirm what I've been telling you all the time, that the MPP can win this election through its parliamentary candidates.
So the parliamentary candidates should lead the campaign.
Extra work to do if they want to win the national election. It goes to confirm.
That's Sami Wiafi. He's covered elections for more than 12 years, followed presidential candidates for 12 years plus. He's still following him. So when he speaks, you want to listen. Me, I know follow some before. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. Sami Wiafi is my co-anchor, and Musa Dankwa of Global Info Analytics joined us in studio. That will be it for Situation Room on Citi TV. Thank you. We'll be back next week with more.